All right, everybody. Good afternoon. What is going on? We've got ourselves a Snap Count Monday, except it's Tuesday because our game was played on Monday and it didn't end until it was almost Tuesday, so couldn't do Snap Count Monday. We got Snap Count Tuesday on deck here, and it was a very snap heavy week. We had a lot of action, we had a lot of plays on both ends. And obviously, it ended well for the Seahawks, but let's break it down a little bit more beyond that. Let's actually take a look and see how much the players played. So we're going to start with the offense here, as we do every week. And 72 plays is a lot. 72 plays is by a pretty decent margin, the most we've had in any game this year. And that's probably a recipe for success. Hard to have 72 plays in a game and not come out with a good outcome. So on that front, okay, we got something going here. So good start. Be right back. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today, get to it, and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, welcome back. So of those 72 snaps, Charbonnet got slightly more than Walker. Those were the only two running backs that played, but pretty even this week. And this was kind of interesting because this was definitely a game where Charbonnet seemed more effective for the most part. I know by the end things kind of equaled out, but Charbonnet was certainly the better of the two running backs in that game. So kind of interesting that this would be the game where you see a pretty even split, but doesn't seem to really matter who's back there. Neither of these guys are getting the opportunities that they deserve to be the running backs they can be. So it's just frustrating because these are two really good running backs that we got, and feels like we're going to get to the end of Walker's rookie deal, maybe even Charbonnet's rookie deal, without ever really benefiting in full. So 37 snaps for Charbonnet and 32 for Ken Walker. So, I mean, that I got no problem with that. Okay, wide receivers. Wide receivers now, we got JSN leading the way by a good amount with 63 snaps. Still not playing every snap, though, which, with the way he's playing, you would think there would be a temptation to just leave him on the field for every snap. But this team, man, they want to maintain they want to maintain their identity. They want to stick to what they were planning on being this offseason. And I can't really argue with it too much. Can't really object to it. The results are still the results. So 63 snaps for JSN, Cup with 54, and Horton with 28. So look, I like Horton. Horton is going to be a good player for us. I'm optimistic about where his career is headed. But clearly we've decided to not overextend him this year. He has not played more than 30 snaps in any game this year. And that includes a game where we just had 72 snaps. So we're being careful here. And, I'm certainly down with it. But we don't want to depart too much from the team that we want to be. So 28 snaps, so like a 40%, not even 40%. Bobo, 16 snaps. Tariq Young, 1 snap. And I think he got hurt, so he probably would have played a little bit more if not for that. But normal stuff, pretty regular stuff, routine stuff here. And yeah, that's it for the wide receivers. This is just going to be kind of business as usual for the rest of the season, I have to imagine. It does trouble me that you can have a game where Cooper Kupp plays 54 snaps and he only has 1 catch. It does remind you that he's kind of running low on fuel, but we got to roll with it. It's I mean, we knew when we signed him he was gonna be running a little bit low. So hopefully when we need it, he'll be there for us. Tight ends, normal stuff again. Barner plays most of the game, 62 snaps, only misses 10 snaps. Arroyo and Saubert, they split pretty evenly, which again, look, I think Saubert's playing pretty well for us. I'm not here to hate on him, but it doesn't sit well with me that Arroyo can't even significantly outsnap a guy like Eric Saubert, who is we are talking about very much a NFL journeyman who is near the end of his career. I don't know. I don't want to read too much into it, but Arroyo didn't play badly last night or anything. He did obviously have the fumble, which was really, really annoying. But I don't know. It just seems to me that if you were only going to use Arroyo this much, you probably shouldn't have spent a second-round pick on him. There was a better way to spend that pick. And I know we can get better, but I don't know where the ceiling really is. Honestly, the ceiling feels a little low to me. Brady Russell, 15 snaps. Not all playing tight end, of course, but regardless, he did play a little bit more in this game. Not really much to say. He's doing the best that he can, but there isn't a lot that he can offer. The offensive line, everybody played every snap, and Josh Jones played one snap that I know of in a jumbo package. So I think it was just the one. I'm not 100% sure because the normal NFL snap count data distributor didn't quite get their data up yet today for the games last night. So I believe that Josh Jones played jumbo one snap, and that's it. Everyone else just every snap. Okay, defense. We're going over the defense now. Despite the 72 snaps from the offense, we still got outsnapped by the defense. 76. That's basically 150 plays. That's an abnormal number of plays. And what that is indicative of is a lot of long drives that end in 0 points. It's indicative of some turnovers, which of course we had. It's indicative of a game with a lot of stoppages because there were a lot of incomplete passes, which there were. So there's a lot that goes into 76 snaps for your defense and 72 for your offense. So take it as you will, but Seattle is still working on a pretty big deficit here. And I still think that this team is going to have a hard time getting to where they want to get to at the end of the year if they're grinding out all these 70-plus snap games defensively. Does not strike me as a recipe for success. And the big problem is I think we can't run the ball consistently. If we could run the ball consistently, we could hold on to the ball longer. Anyway, though, defensive line, Leonard Williams, most snaps he's had all game at 62. So, look, it's relatively early in the season. It was right before a bye week. He can afford to do this sometimes, but I really don't like seeing the numbers this high. I feel like that's something you pay for at the end of the year. Leonard Williams is on the wrong side of 30. I don't want to be pushing it. Maybe he can do it, but I don't want to test it too much. I'd like to get this number below 50, if anything. So, little concerned about that. Byron Murphy, 47 snaps, so we were able to keep things more or less in a reasonable range with him. Seems like that when the play count gets really high, we do still default to leaning on Big Cat. And okay, I guess that's okay, but Murphy's the guy who's younger and can probably take on a bigger workload. I would not mind seeing him maybe take some snaps from Big Cat in games like this. Jaron Reed, 35 snaps, so we're definitely playing it cool with him, which makes sense. We want to make sure he has something left for the end of the season. So, sure. He's played basically exactly 50% of the snaps so far this season. And that's probably the best way to keep this going. Mike Morris, 8 snaps. So his role is diminishing. And when Derek Hall gets back, I think that he'll probably be pretty much out or very close to it. Once we get all 4 edges on the field at the same time, I think that Morris is probably going to just hit the bricks. And Morris did okay. I don't have any animosity for him or anything, but I do think there's a limitation to what he can really offer. And Brandon Peely, 7 snaps. 44 on the season. He does okay when he's out there. Nothing over-the-top special, but sure. Does his job, does work. Linebacker, very simple. Ernest Jones plays every snap. Drake Thomas plays every snap except for 8. And we have now seen, I think officially, Drake Thomas has taken that outside linebacker role away from Tyrese Knight. And Tyrese Knight, it could be a while before he gets it back. And Drake Thomas is playing really well right now. I will say he's playing better than I would have expected. So I guess we ride for now. I still think that there's going to come moments where you see the limitations of a Drake Thomas, but right now he's doing good work. So I can rock with it for the time being, but let's be careful here. There is a reason why Drake Thomas was in a place where anybody could have had him for basically free at various points throughout the last couple seasons. So we can rock with this right now because Tyrese Knight was being such a liability on passing downs, but I'm worried about what happens when he gets challenged in run defense. All right, linebacker, then we got edge rusher. Again, it's going to be a little bit out of whack because we don't have Derek Hall, but we're making it work. Uchenna Nwosu plays almost 60 snaps. Really hoping that's the last time he approaches 60 snaps this year. Mafe plays 48 snaps. DeMarcus Lawrence plays 53. And you do what you got to do in a game like that. But when Derek Hall gets back, I'm really hoping that we can keep this around like 40 per player, maybe even 35. I don't want to put too much on these guys because DeMarcus Lawrence is an older player. He will break. Uchenna Nwosu, injury prone. He will break. Like you gotta spread things around. And these last couple weeks we haven't been able to, understandable. But when Derek Hall gets back, I'm hoping we find some really good balance because all four guys can offer something. That's it for the edge rushers. Cornerback, pretty simple this week. There's really not much to say. Reek Woolen played every snap except for 6. By the way, I don't know why he missed those 6 snaps. I didn't even notice it watching the game. I don't know if he lost his contact or what, but he came out for 6 plays. I don't think it was us going goal line or something where we didn't have any corners because Josh Jobe played the whole game. So I'm not sure what happened here. I'm not sure why Woolen came out for 6 snaps. Maybe we had a couple snaps where we only had one outside corner, which would be kind of weird. But I don't know what plays it was that he missed, but it is kind of notable that he did miss them, I guess. Again, I almost feel like maybe a contact popped out or something. But I didn't notice it either way. And nobody else played, so we were actually able to keep things relatively tidy there. Didn't have to put anything on the shoulders of players that just aren't, they're just not where they need to be right now. You know, Darion Kendrick, Shaq Griffin, Nehemiah Pritchett, they're just not capable of holding up over an extended period of time in an NFL game right now. It is what it is. Safety, Kobe Bryant, Ty Okada played the whole game, all 76 snaps. Nick Emanwari, 71 snaps. So basically the whole game. And he's by and large playing slot corner, by the way, in case you're wondering how that works. I still list him as a safety because he is a safety, but he's playing a lot on the line of scrimmage. Okay, so, I mean, this is what you're going to have when you have all these secondary injuries. I'm very interested to see what happens to Emanwari's playing time when we get back to having Witherspoon and Love. I kind of would like to see him out there for a large majority of the snaps still, but it may not be 100%, and we might see some rotating. All right, that's going to do it for this week, guys. More videos coming later. See you guys soon. And that'll do it for Snap Count Monday on a Tuesday.